Forget my spectacles home, but the light bright, I see it. Well, good night, good night, good night, good night to everyone. It's such a wonderful night. Even though we have some sad issues or incidents, it's such a wonderful night. And I'm happy that I'm here with you tonight to share some more on advancing the cause. Tonight, we are going to start off by sending happy birthday greetings to a couple of people. I mean, I know I'm going to get into trouble, but I've got to say I've got to extend these birthday wishes. So we have birthday wishes for Mr. Bobby Vera. He celebrated his birthday today. He's still in the celebratory mood. And so, Bobby Vera, we want to say happy birthday to you from the Advance crew. To Miss Audrey Garway, way out there on the Esquimalt Coast. Audrey, happy birthday to you. I hope you did have a good day, and I want you to know that you have a whole year to celebrate. Happy birthday to you. And then we have a teacher. I don't know why her name is slipping me, but she is from the Central. Oh, don't let me get this wrong. She's from Providence Primary School. Happy birthday to you, my dear. And I trust that as you celebrate this new year, brand new year, many success will come your way. Lots of success will come your way. And we extend nothing but love to you. And to all those who would have celebrated their birthdays today, yesterday, the day before, happy birthday to you. And we trust that God is going to continue to bless you richly. To all the wonderful persons who are out here, I know you've been looking forward to seeing this program tonight. And our program is captioned tonight, our cries must be consistent. Our cries must be consistent. So Yvonne and Carlene and Denise and everybody else, thank you for being here. Anthony and everybody else, thank you for being here. And just let your friends know that advancing the cause is on. I know we have a couple of other activities that are competing with advancing the cause tonight. So we are going to go right into the program. Again, our cries must be consistent. And while we're talking about our cries must be consistent, I want to extend heartfelt condolences to some persons who would have lost loved ones. We have our little baby there, 6 years old. 6 years old, who lost her life in that tragic accident, to her mother, to her father, to her siblings, to her aunts, her grandmother, all of Guyana. We want to extend to you our heartfelt condolences, and we trust that God is going to comfort you even now. 6 years old, she did not even get a chance to reach her teens, to reach double figure, any one of the double figure, 10 or 11, and her life was just snuffed out like that. Heartless people. And then we want to extend condolences to the 2 young men who lost their lives in Linden on that motorcycle, Isaiah Richards and Latrell Winfield, I think is his name. Condolences to the parents of those 2 young men, and to all the others who would have lost loved ones during this time. We extend heartfelt condolences to you, and we pray that God is going to bless you and comfort you, give you the strength that you need. Tanza, good night to you. Donette, good night to you. Favor, good night to you. Colleen, good night. Roxanne, good night. Lynette, good night. Everybody. Auntie Marva, everybody, good night to all of you. All of you, and thank you for being here with us. Tonight we are going to go right into the program, and we have a wonderful guest, a young man who's always evergreen, effervescent. He's always there, keeping us alive with all that's happening. sharing information, and the information we share, let me say to you, it's authentic. We don't come out here and bluff anybody. The information we share is authentic, and we're going to talk about why our cries must be consistent. You can't do one side and you don't do the other side. If you're going to cry, you must cry consistently. Our cries can't be convenient. And so I'm going to bring forward with us. You notice I'm dressed all in white. Eh? We were there at the candlelight vigil tonight for that pretty little young child, 6 years old. And so we have on coming on screen with us is none other but retired police, Mr. Paul Slow. Hi, my dear. How are you tonight?
Good night, Coretta. Good night to your viewers. I'm fine, thanks.
How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great, thank you. I'm well, thanks.
I am happy to hear that. And Mr. Slow, I just can't stop thanking you for all that you do for us every day. You've served well while you served in the Guyana Police Force, and you're still continuing to give service. And we can't attach any kind of monetary value to that. But I want to thank you for what you do all the time. And I know whenever I call you, you're always ready and willing to be on this program to share with our viewers. Tonight, like I said, we're going to be talking about why our cries should be consistent. Our cries must always be consistent. And so I'm going to start off right away with our cry for the Chancellor of the Judiciary, Miss Yonette Cummins. I can't remember hearing the big outcry for her. We saw her going off on leave. We saw her returning. We know about the challenges that this woman would have faced while she sat there. But the cries that I'm hearing for other things, I'm not hearing the cries for the Chancellor, well, former Chancellor, because she has submitted a early retirement, a letter for asking for early retirement. But where are the cries? Mr. Slow, you want to share with us?
Well, it's a level of hypocrisy that pervades the society. When you review what really took place, first of all, let's understand that esteemed woman was there acting for years and years and years. No attempt to have her confirmed in the position. The Caribbean Court of Justice, the head of that body, they all talked about the need to have these judicial officers confirmed, and they never ever did that. The Constitution requires the agreement of the opposition leader, and we are aware that Mr. Aubrey Norton, the opposition leader, wrote to the president some time ago indicating that he's in agreement for the Chancellor and the Acting Chancellor and the Chief Justice to be confirmed. And that was ignored. And then we learned that the Chancellor acting went on leave, 2 months leave, I think it was. And when she returned, we were told that she is going. The president announced that she has requested early retirement and that she was proceeding on retirement. And I said something is strange, because if someone is on leave and they wanted early retirement, one would expect perhaps while they were on leave, that arrangement would have been sought. But to have resumed and then to be told, for us to be told that she has requested early retirement, it is my view, I held the view then, I still hold the view, that she was forced into early retirement. I have no doubt about that, because again, as I say, it makes no sense for someone to go on leave, 2 months leave, resumed. When she resumed, the person who was acting in that capacity moved on, and then the Chief Justice then she moved. Madam Roxanne George moved, and we learned that she was not allowed to take back her office. She had to operate from some library or something like that. So it was all planned. And then I think the president is the one who made the announcement that the acting chancellor, Madam Yonette Cummins Edwards, had requested early retirement. I am of the view she was forced into that position. She was forced into that position. Early retirement, and there are lots of implications, because I understand that she has a number of years more to go. So if she takes early retirement, And what we have not been told is she on pre-retirement leave? Because I don't expect that if she takes early retirement, there's the public service, which I think applies to the judiciary as well. You go on leave until the time comes for you to retire. So is she on leave, or is just a clean terminated? Some people say constructive dismissal, and we're not hearing anything. And again, as you say, we have to be consistent. People are not talking about that. They have gone on. They have gone on from that, and it's really, really sad because, as the poem by Pastor Nehemiah says, when they came for the Jews, they did not complain because he was not Jew. They came for the trade
Mhm,
unionists. There was no complaint
mhm.
because he was not a trade unionist. But let, today is for that person. Tomorrow is going to be you. So when these things happen, when these injustices, these seeming injustices take place, we must talk. We must talk out about it. We can't remain silent.
Well, and I am saying the very same thing, and I'm disappointed that I've not heard a word coming from the the bar association. I've not heard the female attorneys speaking out, and you wonder what's happening here. Why aren't we getting the outcry? Why aren't our cries loud enough? What was the reason? Why aren't we asking? Why is it that you went off on leave and then you return to announce that you're going on early retirement? We should be finding out what has caused that. We should be asking, well, can't we not ask her to hold on for a little while? No cry, but you're hearing all kinds of cry in other places. Our cries must be consistent.
And what is most disturbing, as we learned that around that 1 week before the convening of Parliament, I think it is said that the president wrote to the outgoing leader of the opposition, Mr. Orbie Norton, asking for consultation for the appointment of the Chancellor and the Chief Justice. After all of these years, they did nothing. And just before the new Parliament is to be convened, which it did on Monday, then they're writing for the confirmation. These people are crazy. This is madness, right? Madness. This is indecent. This is indecent. And of course, if you don't have decency, you can't act decently. That's the bottom line. It is shameless in the manner this esteemed lady is being treated. Shameless. And as I've said, I agree with you. Then someone should explain the rationale behind our going on leave, resuming, and then a day or two after resuming, decide, well, look, I am going to chuck. I want early retirement. Something is wrong. Something is definitely wrong.
There's a young man who used to be saying, things not regular. The late Laurie Alexander, he had a
Yeah.
saying, things not regular. So something not regular here. And I want to call out the female attorneys and those female magistrates. You must come out and speak. Your cries must be heard. Because today for Chancellor Yonette Cummins, tomorrow might be your day. As a matter of fact, from the time they step there, they're going to step on your toes a couple of days from now. And we should be hearing the cries, but the cries are not consistent. Assistant Commissioner Paul Sloan, I've seen and I've been hearing loud cries about the arrest of the incoming, whenever that is going to be, opposition leader, Azruddin Mohammed. Um, Operator, I don't know if you have that clip that you can play for us while we're going to talk about it. But the cries about the manner with which he was arrested, and this and that and the other, and something so and something so, and the cries that we're getting from it. I mean, you and I would know that the police, they operate sometimes crazy, very, very crazy. They can operate sometimes. But the thing is, when we hear about these sudden cries now, we wonder what is happening or what has happened before. And why weren't we having the cries before? It's not the first time that someone has been arrested by the police. It's not the first and it will never be the last.
It is with deep concern that I update you, the people of this country, about the constant harassment I'm facing by the Special Branch Unit, an arm of the Guyana Police Force. The government, while in opposition between 2019 and 2020, complained bitterly to me about the frequent harassment they once faced by the same Special Branch Unit. Now in government, they have resorted to using the same tactics they once faced and complained about. This very group of people have their lackeys and sub-prefects of the Special Branch harassing me in a more invasive, oppressive, and aggressive manner that they continue to hold personal grudges with. Sources within Special Branch have...
Well, we heard that there. I was hoping that we would have the videos that showed the arrest that took place. But Mr. Slow, let's talk about this while we're looking for those videos. Let's talk about it.
Well, you know, the arrests, let's understand it clearly. People, as you say, you have to be consistent. I was a victim of by the police when on the 15th of October 2021, I received a summons from the police to go to court.
Operator, could you, Mr. Slow, hold for me. Operator, could we play that one there? The one with Mr. Slow. We're gonna show this one, and I want to know, you know, what is different, what is different from that one, and what is different from this one here. It is, you know, it's sometimes, again, our cries must be consistent. When you don't cry for others, you will cry at some point, and we must understand that. Note well, we're not saying that what the police would have done is right, but we must be consistent with our cries. Operator, you're getting it there? Right, we must be consistent with our cries. Our cries must always be consistent. And it shouldn't be convenient. And that's why we're having all the problems that we're having in our society, because our cries are not consistent. And so we just want to show our folks. Good. So we just saw this one here. Mr. Snow. This was I can't remember which year that was.
Yeah, that was October the 15th, 2021. A day I will always remember. And just in case your viewers are not aware what took place there, I was summoned by Soku, Assistant Superintendent Ramana of Soku, to attend court to answer a charge of conspiracy to commit fraud. And when I turned up, that you see, there was at the Georgetown Magistrate Court. When I turned up at the Georgetown Magistrate Court, the same people who summoned me to attend court on that day are there arresting and harassing, assaulting me, saying that they arrested me for the same offense that they summoned me for. The same offense that they summoned me for, they arrested me. Well, I indicated to them quite clearly that they had no legal authority to so do, and I stood my ground. And as you can see there, Ramana, Duke, Singh, and Thomas, those are the ransom Soku there, sent to arrest me when I arrived in court in answer to a summons that they had applied for. And again, a lot of people were silent. So now with the wing leader, the same people who were silent then are voicing their opinion and so on. But as you rightly pointed out, they must be consistent. The big difference in the two cases is that they had absolutely no legal authority to arrest me. And we understand that they received an arrest warrant issued by the magistrate on Friday to arrest Azzuddin Mohammed and his father. So they had legal authority to do so. And people recognize, even though they had legal authority, and when they had no legal authority to deal with me in the manner in which they did, they were silent. They were silent. So again, you see, we must be consistent, and we are not.
So, I'm hearing all the shouts from all the corners as if this young man is untouchable. We must remember, we must be reminded, that this was the very young man who said he paid to do a couple of things. It is alleged that he financed the Phantom Squad. You know how many other young men, and Mr. Slow, you would remember that, and our viewers would remember, many young men were picked up and thrown in the backs of police vehicles. One young man had his bicycle thrown on him. One young man was kicked, and we don't hear these outcries. And so I'm saying our outcries must be consistent. And if we are consistent with our cries, then a lot of things that are happening in our society will stop. But if we pick and choose when we want to do it, it will continue to happen. Am I to understand, or our viewers to understand, that it was okay to assault Assistant Commissioner Paul Slow, who turned up in court because he was summoned? He turned up in court. Was it okay for the police to assault him and treat him the way they treated him? But I didn't hear the big outcry. But when we lock up somebody else, when the police arrest somebody else, whether they did it the right way or the wrong way, that's another story. But when somebody else is arrested, in this case, Azzuddin Mohammed and his father, it's a big outcry. We have seen the police assaulting women. If we remember the case of Chevron Eastman from Mocha, I don't know how many of you remember that, when she was placed face down in the mud. A policeman's knee was on her back. Where was the outcry? Our cries must be consistent. There's a story, I really can't remember the full story, but there's a story about the farmer's wife, the rat trap, where the rat was eating out the corn and so on, and you had everybody else there. Nobody wanted to get rid of the rat. We had the dog, we had the cat, we had the hen, we had everybody there. Nobody wanted to do anything. And so the farmer decided to set a rat trap. But you know what? The trap didn't catch the rat. The trap caught a snake. And the farmer's wife, by accident, she stepped across there and the snake bit her. And you know what happened? The farmer was told by the doctor he got to make soup for her. So he made the chicken foot soup for her. Then he made soup with the cow heel. Then he went to the sheep, and then he went to the goat. So all work. The farmer's wife eventually died, but all of the others were consumed because nobody wanted to take that on. head on. Mr. Slow, your comment.
Well, what you see there is what we call the classic animal farm. All animals are equal, but some are more equal than others. And that is what we have operating in Guyana, right? That is what we have operating. And coming back to the lawyers and the magistrates, I don't know why. Well, I suspect professional ethics might dictate that they should not comment openly on these matters. I recall the last time I saw some demonstration from them was when the same Ramana, same Ushimat Ramana from Soku arrested the lawyer Tamika Clark, who's now a
Mm-hmm.
magistrate, because she advised her
Mm-hmm.
client to remain silent or
Yeah.
something to that effect.
Mm-hmm.
She was arrested by the same man who got 2 promotions and all of that after. And then the lawyers felt compelled to turn out in front of Soku, and they demonstrated and they make a lot of noise then. But again, as you said, you have to be consistent. You have to be consistent, because today for me, tomorrow for you. That is how it is operating.
I hear again, we're hearing all these cries. When are we going to put a stop to these cries? Is it that we're going to come out there and flock the courthouse when you have a matter involving the Mohammeds, and when you have a matter involving Chevron Eastman? Again, I refer to her. As we speak, she's still owing banks DIH $1.2 million. Because those were the stocks that were damaged by this wicked government. She's still owing banks. She's still got to pay banks for all that was damaged then. But we didn't hear the cries for Chevron Eastman. We didn't hear the cries for the folks at Peters Hall when the government went there, when one Edgel himself went there to harass that poor old lady. I'm trying to remember what her name is. We didn't hear the cries for them. We don't hear the cries. We didn't hear the outcry when Quindon Bacchus was shot and killed. You didn't hear any cries from certain set of people. We didn't hear the cries when persons like Robin Simon and them were held and charged for terrorism. We must cry out every time a wrong is done. We must cry out. Not only when some people, and so I'm seeing one of our viewer in the comment section saying, karma watching and waiting and karma acting. It is disgusting. Somebody is having some problems with our sound. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it was echoing a little while, but I think it was stopped. Well, yeah, mine is echoing a little, yeah.
All right, I guess we'll fix that in a while. But you know what? There are times when we're on and then we have all kinds of craziness coming on. But like I'm saying, we must cry all the time. When the folks in Mocha had their homes broken down, we had this outcry. If we had that kind of outcry, those homes would not have been demolished. The people at Hillfoot, if we had the outcry and the support, they would not have been treated the way they were treated. The people at Sarah Joanna, if we were crying out, we would not have had those people being treated the way they were treated. A little baby, 6 months old, had to be treated at the hospital. That little 6-year-old child and her family members who were traumatized, other cousins who were traumatized because they were in that car. Where is the outcry? Where was the outcry when we allowed this government to bring all them Venezuelans in this country? Where was the outcry? Where is the outcry? When are we going to cry? So you see, when we don't cry, things happen to us. When we don't speak out, things happen to us. So we got to stop being convenient in our speech. We must come out, as Mr. Paul Slow would always say, and he has his program that says speaking out. exposing corruption and incompetence. We must expose it. Now, we are speaking out. Look what happened now. The minister jump out. Senior officers get transferred from the Guyana police force for harassing the young recruits, for having relationships with them and pressuring them and all kind of thing. Now they jump out. But this has been happening from since Noah was a scout. But some people got friends in high places, and Mr. Snow is going to comment on that. People got friends in high places, so they run to their friends. And you can't do, nothing could be done about it. It's just dragged and swept under the carpet. Mr. Slow.
Yeah, well, it's very, very disturbing. It's a worrying trend that we see now, where these people have political. I'm referring to people in the force. They have political coverage, so they can do all manner of things, and nothing happens to them. Not all manner of things, right? And they are. We have so many examples. You reference the scandal. I would call it the police training institution, where it is alleged that they have these inappropriate relationship between the instructors and the people there who are staff and the trainees, where they are pressured into having sexual relationship with them. The minister on the sidelines of there's another allegation too, which is alleged that the senior officer has an inappropriate relationship with one of his staff members. And her husband complained bitterly because of the harassment and the bullying.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand from one of the social media posts that they are photographs. You know, they say a photo speaks a thousand words.
Yes.
Photographs are there. Well, the minister did say that she did not see the photographs. That was on Monday afternoon. So I would hope that by now she was able to see these photographs. And I would hope by now, because she made the point very clearly that such a relationship is contrary to the Sexual Offences Act. So waiting to see what action will be taken against the senior officer. But again, as you say, in this animal farm, don't hold your breath. We had not so long ago, about a month or so ago, coming out of Region 1, Barima Winey, same place headed by this same Christian Romana, with the letter of corporal, police corporal, male corporal, has a inappropriate relationship with a 15-year-old female.
15-year-old. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And what has happened? What has happened? We ain't hearing anything more. We are not hearing anything more. That reminds us of Dharam Lal, two allegations of rape and other. It reminds us of a senior police officer, allegation that he sexually assaulted a female journalist and that he also assaulted a female rank. Nothing is happening because the people are connected. The people are connected to the politicians, and therefore nothing happens. And there, the minister talk about people being transferred and transferred. That is just a little smoke screen. When anything happens in the force, you hear them quick to tell you, OPR, that's the Office of Professional Responsibility Investigating. Some of these things are criminal. Some of these allegations are criminal allegations. And that's not the mandate of the Office of Professional Responsibility to investigate. They have a criminal investigations department, and if criminal allegations are made, they should be the ones investigating. Nothing happening. Nothing happening. And they bring in the force down and down and down and down all the time because, just the records are repeated with all type of allegations, unsavory allegations against members of the force, from senior members right now. Don't forget, we still have a case with the de facto second in command, 252 criminal charges. You have the commissioner himself confessed to taking $8.5 million from Amir Ahmad.
Yep.
You have all of these allegations. 2 weeks ago, we learned that allegation, we ordered SOCO, the Special Organized Crime Unit, went to the finance office, the police finance office, and seized a set of documents investigating a fraud involving, guess who? The same Ramana from Region 1. And we ain't hearing anything further. But because they are connected to the politicians, and the politicians are covering for them, right? And therefore, the ranks in the force are aware of that. As a result of that, they are demoralized, because they see some people of a particular ethnic group doing the guards and they get away with it. And then they are there, they're not being promoted, and they see all the discrimination. That is what is going on. That is what is going on in the Guyana police force.
And so here we have again no kind of outcry or none whatsoever, because I've not seen any kind of mobilizing anywhere. We have a policeman who was shot and killed by a businessman. The same businessman, it is alleged, his firearm was taken away from him because he threatened some rank in the Guyana Defense Force. And he is always in the habit of threatening persons. And now he did not only threaten, but he shot and killed a policeman. Where is the outcry? And mind you, he was placed on $1 million bail. He was charged for manslaughter, placed on $1 million bail. Now, the charge could have only come from the police. The police had to recommend the charges. And if they didn't see it as murder, then, so he is out on $1 million bail. We hear the outcry. We hear the outcry. And a 8-year-old child is without his father. A community is without a community leader. A mother has lost her son. Brothers have lost a brother. Sisters have lost a sister. Where's the outcry?
Yeah, that is such a bad case. That is such a bad case. And I spoke about it on several occasions because this policeman was buried on Saturday. And again, I say condolences to the wife and the relatives and all these people. From the evidence that surfaced, and I try to be fair when I make my comments, because I said, following the investigation, the police would have done an investigation, and a file would have been sent to the Director of Public Prosecutions, and it was the Director of Public Prosecutions, I'm sure, that would have advised that a charge of manslaughter be instituted against this Robert Hussein, right? To be fair, I said, we're not sure, because let me back up to say, the video surfaced sometime after. So therefore, by taking it, we cannot be sure if at the time when the file was sent to the Director of Public Prosecutions, if they had access to that video, right? So the decision to institute a manslaughter charge might have been based on evidence that did not include the CCTV footage. But I am saying that once that became available, then it should have been reviewed, the matter should have been reviewed, and the charge of murder should be instituted because it is clear from the CCTV that it was cold-blooded murder. And again, you say there was no outcry. And I said earlier today on my program that when some weeks ago, the acting chief magistrate, having first remanded the person who is alleged to have thrown acid on the nurse on Dr. Balwant Singh Hospital. She remanded him because the police had said on the first appearance that they have evidence, video evidence showing this incident. And the magistrate said, well, all right, bring the evidence. And they promised to return the next day with the evidence. When they returned on the next day, they did not have the evidence. As a result of that, the magistrate placed the person on bail. The police came out with a statement attacking the magistrate. The police, imagine that the police came out with a statement attacking the magistrate for sending this person on bail. And here you have a case that a man, a businessman, Robert Hussein from Bidunu, at least the business was at Bidunu, shot and killed a policeman almost in cold blood. We saw what led up to this shooting, where he baited the police. Pick up something now, and then they had this exchange. And what he did, the policeman pointed the hand, he boxed with the policeman. Then the policeman picked up something, they say some food, threw it at him, and then he reached across to some place, picked up a pistol, and shot the policeman bottom in his chest. And charged with manslaughter. Nothing from the police, no condemnation from the police. Again, none at all. No condemnation from the police in respect to that.
And you know what is disgusting about it? Is that this young man is a serving member of the Guyana Police Force, just came from work the night before, crossed over at Vredenhoop and stopped at the phone shop there because he bought a phone the afternoon and the phone was a defective phone. Again, it is alleged that this same fellow Robert Hussein, he buys hot phones, refurbishes them, and then he sells them to people for a whole lot of money, because it's not the first time he would have had issues. That very policeman, he had issues with the policeman's grandfather and some other cousin for the policeman, selling them defective phones. And when you go to return your phone, it's a big story. Now the thing, when we look at that video clip in there, that businessman had enough time to think about what he was doing. He stopped, then he reached for under the shelf. So aren't we going to say that that is what he did there was premeditated? But we're hearing no outcry, not even from the police. So mothers, wives, husbands, all of y'all who got family in the police force, and they're the straight ones, y'all tell them, look at what happened to, what the guy named, Lance Corporal Hayes. Look at what happened to him. It could happen to you tomorrow, and then they can come and give you big ceremonial funeral when they don't even care a damn about you and your family. That young man dead and gone. 8-year-old child without a father, and then you're gonna have all kind of hugs and all kind of nonsense. You see, if that young man was related to me in any way, I'd tell the guy, I'd advise them, tell them we want no military funeral, because I am not Mr. Slow. Maybe you're going to advise whether on the first appearance you should get bail for manslaughter.
Well, again, it should have never. Well, again, I say, to be fair, I don't know what evidence they had which resulted in this charge of manslaughter, but manslaughter is a bailable offense, and therefore, I don't think we can fault the magistrate to send him on bail. He should have never been charged, even if, as we said, when the time came for them to review the evidence, they did not get access to this video. And therefore, that is why a charge of manslaughter was recommended. Let's assume that for argument's sake. From the time this video became available and they reviewed that, the manslaughter charge should have been put down and a charge of murder should have been instituted.
Exactly.
And they would have been remanded. It is clear. And look, as I've said, when you do investigation and policing, it's not just about the action. It's about what led to this shooting. You can see, you can hear, listen to the words. I hope they might know they would have had a transcript of what this man, Robert Hussein, was saying. Clearly, he was saying, he was premeditated. You pick up something and see what can happen. That is clear premeditation. He had enough time. He had enough time to walk away. And I said to people, I used to be a firearm instructor in the Guyana Police Force, a leading firearm instructor, I might add. And the rules of engagement, the primary rule says that you can shoot if you are attacked and you apprehend serious danger to your person and you are unable to defend yourself by any other means. And even if we wanted to say that the policeman threw something at him, his response was disproportionate to the action of the policeman. I might throw something at you, and then you pick up a gun and you shoot him in his chest and kill him, and you want to tell me that response was appropriate to whatever threat you might have faced? He never faced any threat that endangers his life. Never, ever faced. We saw the tape. Never faced any threat that endangers his life. And he premeditated, he bait the man, and then he just reached under. That is significant too. He reached under like a shelf and picked up the gun. And you could hear the policeman at that time, apart, he looked and said, they can go shoot. And then, badam! He shot him and he killed him. And he got a manslaughter charge. And the Guyana Police Force, the Corporate Communication Unit, the Welfare Department, the Police Association, the Commissioner of Police, the Minister of Home Affairs, none of them came out and said, well, this thing is well, not only that it is wrong, but the action taken and this charge of manslaughter should not have been instituted. And as I've said, even if it was instituted, when you get the evidence, a charge of murder should have been instituted. But people are silent. They are silent. And this is what should have caused people to be outraged. Policemen should have spoken out about it. Policemen, one of your colleagues, one of your comrades shot and killed in that manner, and you're silent. They are silent. I know enough of them would be upset about it and all this other thing, and they are perhaps afraid to make their voices heard. But when are you going to speak out? When are you going to speak out if you can't speak out about something like this? When are you going to find your voice to speak out? This is clear injustice and murder. Murder of a policeman, a serving member of the force. Let that sink in. And the people silent, they're not saying anything.
You know, this could not have happened in no other country. In no other country, this could not have happened. And he walked like that. And so tonight, I want to say to the people in Region 3, you must boycott his business. Boycott his business. He is not fit to be dealing with anybody else again. You must boycott his business. These people, because they got a link here, they got a link here, and his name is Hussein, maybe connected to somebody down the line, so somewhere down by Lenora. So he got links because of his name and maybe his religion, so they can do whatever they feel like doing. And then we hear the big talks about one Guyana. Not even the president didn't come out and say anything about this action, about this murder. And I'm waiting to see when Guyanese people will come and stand up and talk about it. It is absolute nonsense. And I try to find out every day where our country really going. Where are we really going? We got men moving, well, some container for some police outpost yesterday. Knocked all them wires out there for GPL. Block out half of the city yesterday. I mean, is incompetence upon top incompetence on incompetence and more incompetence and plenty more incompetence, and nobody's saying anything about it. Let me show. Let's look at this. Let's look at this one here. Operator, could you show us what Jennifer Ali was her name? Jennifer Ali.
Yeah.
Look this other one. Look this other one here. Over and over and over and over and over, this young lady is out there saying whatever she feels like saying. Over and over and over. And this is what ERC is going to do. Call her in and then says, oh, she needs counseling and training. Counseling and training for Jennifer Ali. And other people are being written to and they got to come and do. Look at what about Skello. Skello apologized, but yet he was thrown in the lockups. Is this what we want to have? And we don't get the public outcry for these things. We don't get the public outcry for these things. When are we going to get? But if somebody else were to do something and it's not liking on the other side, then you hear the talk about all kind of thing. I saw last week it is, and we want to extend condolences to the mother of that 15-year-old boy who was killed. But all kinds of things we're hearing about that young police girl who it's unfortunate that accident happened. But again, the blame must be thrown at the foot of the Guyana Police Force. At the foot of the Guyana Police Force, and I have no apologies for saying this, because you turn up on the roads and you see 3-lane traffic. Nobody announcing to the public that at a certain time you're going to have 3-lane traffic, whether you're coming from the East Coast or whether when we used to have the Demerara Harbor Bridge, the floating bridge, that you're going to have 3-lane traffic at a certain time. But you coming down the road and the next thing you see traffic coming towards you, the Guyana Police Force must be held responsible for that child's death. Because if persons were aware of that, then persons would know how to tread. Mind you, I'm not saying that the policewoman was right. I'm not saying what happened there, what she did, and she didn't even do it on purpose. It happened. Mr. Slow, your comments.
Well, it's very unfortunate. I view that accident. And I'm speaking here from a position of knowledge. I used to be the traffic chief in Guyana on two separate occasions. And it boggles the mind that you can reverse the lane of a traffic in the manner they did. No signs, nothing at all there.
You know,
Some time ago, I was in Guyana and I was caught by surprise because I was traveling towards Georgetown from the East Coast and I saw something strange. And then I recognized is that on the northern side, the northern carriageway, which normally allows for traffic to flow going east, I saw a vehicle on that same side going west. And then I learned that look, to ease the traffic in the morning, they reverse it. But you don't have any signs. And I made the point because when you look at the child's action, the child went to the pedestrian crossing as he should have, right? He looked to his left where the traffic is supposed to come from. Yes, he did not look to his right because he didn't expect traffic to come from the right. And he
right.
proceeded to cross on the pedestrian crossing, and the car struck him and killed him. Now, I made the point that you have a pedestrian crossing marked on the road, and you don't have any sign. And in this case, I was reminded today that even if there would have been any sign, the sign would have been for traffic traveling going to the eastern direction, the pedestrian crossing ahead, because the road is not configured for vehicles to be traveling on the northern carriageway coming towards Georgetown. And therefore, something like that, you would have had to put down cones and perhaps portable signs to let people know that this is what is taking place. And even the week before,
Mr. Small, just hold for me. I'm seeing callers say, viewers saying that there's a feedback somewhere. There's a feedback. I'm not
there's
sure.
an echo, yes, there's an echo.
I'm not sure. Operator, could you check that out for us? I'm not sure where they're saying that there's an echo.
Yeah, we have an echo. I can hear it.
Mr. Slow, I'm hearing that it's coming from your end.
I don't. Oh, let me see. Is it? I am not too sure. Let me. Is it still? Well, yeah, we're still hearing it. Yeah. So I don't know. My phone is off, so can't be my end.
I noticed somebody saying that it's coming from your end. Let's
Yeah,
continue. I guess
yeah, but I'm saying that it boggles the mind that something like that could have been done because the week before, 2 Thursdays before, I recall, right? There was an accident along that same stretch of road involving a motorcyclist, and they said that he was proceeding east and he overtook a line of traffic. And I had to remind them that overtaking is a legal maneuver done the correct way. And he was confronted with this oncoming traffic, and his handle of the motorcycle struck the car. He lost control, and then he drove into someone, and he died. So it is not this one there where this 15-year-old boy was killed. It's within a week or so before you had a similar thing, and they never did anything. They waited until this child is killed now, and then they immediately discontinue this craziness that they are. And let me say, it is not the reversing of the traffic by itself, in and of itself. It's the fact that you did that without proper signs and proper warnings. You have to have, and hear this, in Guyana, people are not as litigious as they should be, because I believe that the state will bear some responsibility. I believe that the state, having put this thing in place and failed to manage it carefully, bears liability for that child's accident. I believe that, right? And I believe that, I hope that they are properly advised, because what happens when these cases occur, you're going to hear thoughts and prayers, and then some government official going to go and tell you that we're going to take care of the burial, and that's 15 years old. Imagine, I saw the anguish of that mother yesterday, or whenever a child appeared in court. I mean, a lot of emotions, and she wanted to know why the police is put on bail and all of that. But you can't charge for causing death by dangerous driving I don't think, given what is going on, it was unreasonable to admit her to bail. But that is what you find. That is what you find going on in the place.
It is just crazy. It is just very crazy, you know. And again, like I said, it's an accident. But while it's an accident, a life has been lost. And so yesterday I felt the pain of that mother. And while the anguish is there and we are all upset that this has happened, here is a young policewoman who needs the support as well. You know, who needs the support as well. So while we're always reactive, always reactive. And that is why I said I'm laying this at the foot of the Guyana Police Force. You must put out notice out there. You must, and it happens all the time, not only with the Guyana Police Force. And again, our cries are not consistent. You at home, block out. You twist also, you see a road, you drive down the road, you see this road block off. Oh, work's doing, road block off. Nobody's saying anything and we are not crying out. We are not making noise about these things. And so the people feel that they can do anything, anytime. Exactly. Anything, anytime. And we've got to come to the position where where some sort of semblance is brought into this country, But how are you going to have semblance when you got a man who's the president, had 19 fraud charges? How are you going to get semblance? A police commissioner appointed after retirement. How are you going to get semblance? And where is the outcry again? Our cries must be consistent. A police commissioner admitted that he collected monies. You hear anything about that? An assistant commissioner of police, how much? 252 charges. Several police officers, while Mr. Slow was the chairman of the Police Service Commission, they were denied promotions because there were several infractions against them. You don't hear the outcry, but later on they were promoted. All kinds of madness happening. The Police Service Commission was brought to an abrupt end. The life of it was brought to an abrupt end, Mr. Slow. Where was the outcry?
None at all. You have to go to court and get the court find that the president violated the Constitution. And nothing, you don't hear anything. Nothing, you don't hear. Right? And talking about the promotions, the Police Service Commission I chaired made promotions of certain people. And for the government did not recognize, up to now, they have not recognized 40-something of those promotions. They have not recognized those promotions. This same PDP government, and you hear nothing, you hear no outcry.
You know, very quickly, we want to move to two or three other slides that we have there, because we got to talk about some of these things. We must talk about them. We got to talk about them. Incompetence will continue to flow this land if we don't cry out for justice. If we don't speak out when the nonsense is happening, we got to speak out. Our cries must be consistent. Operator, we have two vehicles there. Now we got two vehicles here on the screen. These two vehicles belong to a senior police officer. He move around in these two vehicles. A senior police officer. You notice how the windscreen is black, front and back. Black. The sides too, if you can see the sides properly. And these are the people who tell you, the ordinary citizen, that you shouldn't have heavy tint on your vehicle. But policemen, serving policewomen, senior police officers, they can have all kinds of things happening on their windscreens. Heavy tint. Look at the number plate. That's the second one. Mr. Slow, you served as a member of the police force. I would have seen a police officer tearing off the number plate from a young man's vehicle because he said that was not the right way for it to be done. But this here, two police vehicles, these vehicles are used by a senior police officer. Look at the number plate.
Totally against the law. That's called obscure. And then when you look almost every day up to this afternoon, I saw them reporting that they had some traffic exercise, and during the traffic operation, during the traffic operation, people were charged for obscure number plate. These, according to the law, these are obscured because the law stipulates the dimensions of the letters and the numbers and the number plate, and this is totally in violation of it. And as I've said, I understand a senior police officer drives around in these vehicles. So what we have, tint, front tint all over the place. Even the president, all them talking about regularizing the tinting, but it look again, I've said Animal Farm. The law doesn't apply to certain people. Once they have the necessary connections and so on, they apply to them so they can do whatever they want to do.
And it's so disgusting. You are supposed to be setting the example, but you don't. It brings me to the other issue where you drive the streets, and all of a sudden, when the streets get crowded, the traffic is congested, you hear a siren. All the time we coming along, you're hearing a siren, and then all of a sudden, police siren on. And it's any and every vehicle now you're seeing with red and blue lights flashing all over the place, running you off the streets. But where is the outcry? Where is the outcry? You got ministers' sons and ministers' daughters and ministers' wives driving cars, and they got green and red flashing lights on them, so they drive off the road. I mean, where are the outcries? Where are our cries? Huh? The law stipulates the vehicles that should have siren on them. Mr. Slow, I guess you're going to educate us some more on that.
Yeah, to talk about emergency vehicles, and according to the law, when we talk about emergency vehicles, those are police vehicles, fire service vehicles, and ambulances. Those are the only vehicles authorized by law to have emergency warning appliances. But now everybody, I remember some time ago, the former Minister of Affairs said he would be going into Parliament to amend the legislation to allow for diplomats and certain senior people, I don't know who can determine these senior people, to have lights and siren on the vehicle. And you know, when you come to this matter of siren and lights and tint and all of that, the president has commented repeatedly on it. The senior people have commented, Minister of Home Affairs commented, and what? Nothing. People just ignoring them. You know why those things are being ignored? Because the violators are people who are closely connected to the political hierarchy, and therefore they are untouchable. They are untouchable. That is the problem.
And you know, the thing is, you could buy these sirens in the stores. You could buy them. And so persons are going there and they're buying these sirens and they're putting them on. And then all of a sudden you hear siren in their skin, flashing lights, you coming down the street and somebody blazing coming towards you when they're supposed to be on the other lane. They're blazing in the middle of the road and you got to dash in the corner. You know, and it's disgusting. Sometimes the ambulance themselves, they don't have anybody in there, but because they don't want to wait, they put on the siren and full speed they're gone. And then that's not the only thing about it. When they put on their sirens and they're moving, then we have other vehicles trailing behind them full speed. So you gotta be in the corner. You gotta watch you gotta be on your P's and Q's, lest then they hit your vehicle. But I am waiting to see these police officers fix their number plates first before they go out there to tell anybody to fix their number plates. I want to see them fix the windscreens on their vehicles, take off those heavy tints that you have on your vehicles before you can go out there to tell people take off the tint. You have to lead the way. But whoa, Guyana's become a lawless society. Anybody doing anything, everybody big, everybody doing whatever they feel like because they got a connection here, they got a connection there, they could pay something here, they could pay something there. Well, I recognize the new Minister of Home Affairs talking about bribes and policemen not supposed to collect bribes and she's going to deal with them. Well, I wish her good luck because if she step on somebody's car that's close to the president, she don't know what's going to happen.
Well, from some of the things that the minister have said and what's going on, I made the point. I never knew she had military training because it looked like she just fall in and cover them. There's a military maneuver, right? Because some of the things that I have heard her saying is just more of the same, right? And as I indicated very early, the minister would have had a honeymoon period, and people were looking to see what she will do. But just making statements as she did on several occasions, especially recently with this sex scandal, making statements alone ain't gonna cut it. You have got to
Ain't
show
gonna cut
the public, you got to show them that you mean what you're saying, and that decisive action is taken against these violators. Well, I'm still, the jury is still out with the minister, but enough talking, enough talk, as the boys would say back in the days, a big lamp and no oil. All you do is talk and talk, and very soon these policemen sizing that up, especially the ones who are inclined to do the wrong thing. They say, oh, they just talk. I ain't bother with them. I ain't bother with them. The only talking, I can continue doing what I did doing all the time.
Like Ron the Lane just typed there. Ron the Lane said the chickens are the patients in the ambulance.
Yes, they did that. Yeah, that is so true. And
we remember that one.
Yeah, and let me to be serious. You see, when things like siren are being abused, people in the general driving public, they become desensitized to it. So that when there's a real emergency, sometimes people are reluctant to move over because they believe it's some one of these friends, family, and favorite coming with the siren. Some people become desensitized, and you don't want that because sometimes it's a life or death situation. But people have grown accustomed to every time they can be coming down the road with siren, and they decide, look, I'm pulling over now because it's just one of them again. That's a dangerous thing.
And like Esther is saying that the minister is just trying to look good and sound real, so she's talking up plenty. I remember this was the very minister, if y'all remember, this was the very minister who had to be sworn in twice. This was the very minister who. So you see, when you do all these things and then you come to play madam, right? I mean, like the Bible said, he who is without sin cast the first stone. But if you show me who you be, then I will always want to categorize you into that line as another gangster because you play the gangster role on us. But let's see what will happen. What will happen later down? Let's see whether the minister's words will have weight, because I know she had plenty before her whose talks were just words, like a famous one that we got there, 1 p.m., 2 p.m., 3 p.m. He ain't even got words to say because nobody listens to him. No, he can't instruct nobody to do anything. So, I mean, these dress up window blinds that they got around them there. But we're waiting to see. Operator, I think we got another clip that we want to play. Come back yes, that very one there. That very one. Where is the outcry? Thanks to News Source. Where is the outcry? Where is the outcry? If a head teacher overspends some monies, she is charged, placed before the disciplinary committee of the Teaching Service Commission, and she can either be dismissed or demoted and asked to repay the monies. Where is the outcry for this? Where is the outcry? And that's why I'm saying our cries must be consistent. Where is the outcry? Government still to recover, sorry. Where is the outcry? And this is the man you see doing the most. This is the man who doing the most. Where is the outcry?
121 million. In their eyes, maybe there's not big money, but I'm sure for the average Guyanese like me and you and so many others, it's a lot of money for a person failing to government failed to recover. And you remember, this is just a part of this thing, because the amount we understand for this contract was close to $1 billion, 800 and something million, we understand. So whatever, 120 something million dollars to be recovered, and nothing again, friends, family, and favorite. They can do whatever they want, and they can get away with it. Imagine that report. I think the Auditor General reporting government failed to recover $121 million from a contractor, and Nothing is happening.
And,
Nothing is
and
happening.
this and the contract is right around, you know. The
Yes, is
contract
that
is
the
right
case? The
around.
man is not in hiding or anything like that. The man is not in hiding. Right there.
Where is the outcry? Operator, we have one to the end. Would you want to put that one up for us? Where is the outcry? And we, the taxpayers, got to pay for this. Tell
Yeah.
me here, where is the outcry? Huh? Where is the outcry? Billions of dollars in drugs and medical supplies still to be delivered to the Ministry of Health, and money's done pay for it. Plus, a whole lot expire. Where is the outcry? Where is the outcry? Nobody is being held. Where is the outcry? I remember this very minister when they just came in. He went out there and doing up himself and talking about former minister Valda Lawrence and how much expired drugs they found and this. And it's the same thing we see you doing here. You paying billions of dollars for drugs and the drugs expire. And you already paid money and we still didn't get the drugs. So it brings me back to the COVID vaccine. Mr. Slow?
Well, as we say, Animal Farm. Once they are connected, because remember these people who are said to be given these contracts, they are well connected to the government, you know. His friends, family, and favorite. So you can collect, as I say, billions of dollars and they paid already, and the drugs have not been delivered. And then they check all these billions of dollars in expired drugs got to be dumped. And I say, this is a real travesty, this thing. And people tell you to go to the hospital, they can't get drugs and all of that. They have to go to the private hospital and the private pharmacies and so on. This is what you have in this place. This is real sad. Because the ones, some of them can afford to fly overseas. Remember, a certain man had diarrhea and he catch plane and he get to Miami or something like that. They can afford that. But the average man who depends on the clinic and the hospital can't get proper drugs and so on because of all this corruption.
It is so disgusting. So very disgusting. We got all kind of drug busts. The one at Timeri there recently. We can't hear about it. You hear that silent. In this explosion at the gas station, you don't know who owned the gas station. You're hearing no owner coming out to say it's unfortunate and they're thankful that the staff was there to save the gas. You know who the owner be. So it means that we got all kind of jumbie stories going on behind the scenes and all kind of phantoms owning gas stations and so on. And the thing is here, why is it that these Spanish people went to target that particular gas station and another mobile gas station? What's the story behind this thing? Paul, we got to find out that. What's the story behind these mobile gas stations?
And if everybody think about motive and motive and motive, and I see that going down a certain line. But if you really want to investigate a matter of this nature and you want to know motive, you have to know who is the owner of the property, because that might give you a clue. That might lead you to a clue as to what the motive is, because it might very well discover that is because of who the owner is, and he might have had issues with people, and that is why they come to do that. So unless you know who the owner is, it might be difficult to find out truthfully what the motive, because all we're hearing in this matter so far, it looked like, I said, is a case of the talkative terrorists. This is perhaps the only terrorist in the world who is so talkative to tell you all that's happening and so on, when he come and what he do and all this type of thing. Everything, like everything he says, they believe. Everything they say, they believe, right? And who knows whether this man is sending them down a rabbit hole. And I've been warning them, because I said, in a case like this, you need scientific, forensic evidence to convict this. While here is a confession statement. Even the president telling the family, yes, oh, the man has confessed. Confess? You think he can confess when the matter reaches before the court, or you think he can admit to the confession when the matter reaches the court? No, you can admit. And therefore, if you are building a case on that type of evidence alone, as we say, can't teach you dinner. Oh, as the
Can't
boy
teach
said,
you dinner.
can't teach you dinner because, and you know, as I've said today and I'm saying again, I'm sure the average law-abiding Guyanese wants to ensure that this matter is properly investigated so that these people could be convicted. You hear the president and the minister and all them talking about death sentence. Only today the people charged at the time of signing death warrant. These people are crazy, you know. The man they even got to trial yet. They're talking about signing death warrant and all them. But they say what death warrant. Right? You didn't even got to trial. And this is a process because I'm sure they like to have a preliminary inquiry. Then you have like to have an high court trial, which can last run for a long time. No matter how you try to expedite it. And if a death penalty is underdone, I remember is automatic appeal and all this type of thing. It's a process. But since the next day, President talking about signing death warrant, I want to know where these people come from. And that reminds me when the breakdown police compound was was burned to the ground on the
Yeah.
Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Saturday, the
When
very
it's
next
some
day,
some Troy
the
Green.
president telling you about the president telling you about international people calling for assist because there was some intellectual author. And while he's saying that, heavy duty machinery is on site removing the debris,
Removing.
removing the
Mm-hmm.
debris.
Mm-hmm.
And then later on here, it was some man with a lighter, a wire, and a match, a
And
lighter wire and something, sponge, lighter wire. And it still can be for real. Are they for real? And what happened? Some man named Green was charged with that
mm-hmm.
arson. By now, Green ripe because he ain't hearing anything else. So Green got the
You're
right.
hearing anything? That's it.
Nothing more. You don't know what happened to that matter. The whole complex are destroyed by fire. Right? You don't hear anything more. So he was green then,
And
and now he's ripe.
you're right. And there's so many others that we can go on to talk about that you hear nothing about them up and sweep under the carpet. And that's why I'm saying that our cries must be consistent. We must not only be shouting for one thing or one person. Our cries must be consistent. And let me I know we're running out of time because Mr. Duncan has to come on there in the ring. But you know what? I want to highlight this issue here. Ministry of Education, I know your folks are always watching, but you see those parents, I want to tell our viewers, you see those parents who feel that they can walk into schools and assault teachers. Teachers will deal with some of you one of these days, you know. And I hope when that happens, that the law and being hear the outcry that the teachers bad. Could you imagine a parent walked into a school today, a Ryman nursery school, walked into the school, they're going to sports, and there was a parent teachers association meeting where everything was discussed, costing, the timing for departure, time for arrival, and all of that because they're going to Ichuni. A parent who wasn't at that meeting went into the school to find out what is the process, how they're doing this and that. When she was told what the cost was, I think it's $2,000 from Kokwani to Ichuni, from Araima to Ichuni, she was upset. Rather than deciding, well, okay, I will not send my child or I will take my child myself, she decided to argue with the teacher. The teacher in charge came to find out after she heard the noise, came there to inquire what was happening. And she started speaking to the parent. The parent did not like, according to the parent, she didn't like the way that the teacher was talking to her. So she upped her hand out and boxed the teacher. You see, y'all parents who like to hit teachers, teachers gonna walk with things for y'all, you know. Stop going into schools and abusing teachers' parents because your child will suffer. Your child will suffer. So you know what the department do? They're gonna move the child from one school and send the child to another school. Now that teacher there will go to the police station. As a matter of fact, the teacher went to the police station to make a report, and the officer there can tell the teacher, but y'all are big women, y'all need to make up this, forget about this, apologize. Don't tell these teachers nonsense. No wonder one of y'all colleagues get shoot and nothing ain't gonna happen. You don't tell the teacher, but y'all are big women, y'all are women, and y'all must behave better, and it's a simple matter. It cannot be a simple matter when a parent will box a teacher. And then when the teacher defended herself, the education officer telling the teacher now that she can be written to, I am waiting for that. Nonsense. Y'all must stop behaving so stupid. Don't feel you could walk in school and decide how you want to talk to teachers and then you assaulting teachers. This nonsense will stop because teachers gonna cry out. The rest of you Guyanese, if you don't want to cry out, that's you. But the teachers gonna cry out and the teachers union will stand up for the teachers. So I'm waiting to see the letter that will be written to that teacher because the teacher defended herself and learners were around. When the parent boxed the teacher, the learners weren't right there. Y'all don't get crazy. Stop this nonsense. Because that very education officer, if a teacher had walked into your office and raised his or her voice, you would have written that teacher and you would have said that you would have charged that teacher for being insubordinate and disrespectful. So y'all don't come here and do nonsense. Mr. Slow, your comment. I'm very, very upset about this matter.
Well, these matters like this should be treated very, very seriously. And if the policeman to whom this report was made those statements, he should be disciplined. That policeman, that's a neglect of duty. Policeman should have been able to record the complaint and take appropriate action. Is the only way you're going to get these type of behavior to stop. But to say, if indeed that is what transpired, oh yeah, I'll big you, make up the matter, that is clear neglect of duty. Clear neglect. And I would hope they would pursue that with the relevant authorities, right? Because the policeman, that is not his job. His job in such a case is to take the report and make sure that a proper investigation is done. And if charges are to be filed, anybody to determine whether they must make it up and think got to be a magistrate. Let it go before the court and let the court decide on the way the matter should be treated, whether the parent should be put on a bond, whatever. I see somebody commenting, put the child out of the school, but you can't punish the child because of the behavior of the parent. That would not be right. You have to deal with the parent.
You know, it is disgusting when these parents feel that they could just walk into school. Some the officer, I'm not sure whether the officer is a constable or corporal or whoever, but some Rogers, Amelia Rogers or something like that. Ma'am, something is wrong with you. There's a video and everything because another teacher recorded exactly what happened. And there's a video there. You can put your hand out and box a teacher? You make the teacher? Look, some parents don't know they don't meet with the right teachers, you know. They don't meet with the right teachers. Because if it were another teacher, that teacher would tumble you, plus some other teachers that join and tumble you upside down. I mean, I'm not promoting or inciting violence or that teachers must do these things, but it's wrong, totally wrong. And when the teacher defending herself now, y'all telling the teacher nonsense? Hi, come on, y'all gonna get it right. Y'all gonna get it right. Police, you got to do your job. Whether you're a friend of the parent or not, you got to do your job and do it right. The teacher ain't got no raise to give you to do your job. You're getting paid to do it. So fix it. You hear Onage Waldron, the minister said, y'all mustn't collect bribe. So fix yourself. And we will be sending a letter to the minister. Very soon we are going to be sending a letter to the minister in complaint of what that officer said. This is nonsense. Absolute nonsense. However, we have to go. I know it's 8:05 and Sherrod is almost there ready to go. Operator, would you want to find out if Mr. Duncan is on? Because I don't want to take up too much of his time. But let me say, you notice I'm seeing a viewer here saying, call Miss Gentle. Call Miss Gentle. Exactly. We might very well have to get Miss Gentle to go up there. Mr. Slow, over to you for your closing remarks.
Thanks for the opportunity to once again, come and highlight and explain things to people and so on. It's always a pleasure to be advancing the cause. And so therefore, that is why I responded immediately when the invitation was extended. So to the viewers, again, as I would caution people on speaking out, Guyana is also the thing happening. So you got to take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. Be safe always. Be safe always.
Yes, so and to that viewer who is saying that we're assuming and we're taking sides, for your information, that teacher, if she was forced to resign and racist as the two of you, look, you just crazy. Must tell Jagdio that when you're watching Jagdio's program, the same viewer who is wherever 3066, you must tell Jagdio that when you're watching Jagdio's program, must tell Jagdio the foolishness that he talking. But viewers, it's always a pleasure to have you here with us. We are so thankful when you come on here to listen to us because you know what we bring out here is the facts. And so I want to say to you, be good Guyanese citizens, whether you're here or in the diaspora, be good. For those who are here, be safe on the roadway and do take care of yourself. Let me just bring you update at BV Kwamina Primary. The students, the learners are back at school. They returned today. Most of the issues would have been resolved, and we're keeping tabs on that. We have some issues at Covent Garden Primary. I know Diamond Secondary was out today because of bees. We have issues at Ansgrove Secondary. We've got issues at Parika Salem Primary and Secondary toilets. We've got issue at Linden Foundation. Yesterday, the children turned up to school on Monday with toilets with feces inside because they had water issues. Ministry of Education, get your act together. Sonia, I want you to do your utmost best. I want you to do your utmost or do your best. Fix them toilets, make sure they get water in Linden, and pray this falls directly under you. So fix it, because if you think you get away, you don't get away. Fix it. But we're going to end on a very positive note. We have one more clip to show there. We're going to end on a very positive note. No, not that one. Go straight down to the end with the, not, yes, that very well, right. One more clip to end. And so I want to extend congratulations to this young man, Mr. Dirk Macaulay, who was math and science teacher in Guyana. A1 math and science teacher in Guyana. We lost him to the Bahamas because this government failed to recognize our teachers. They failed to recognize who we have. So he would have served in the Bahamas for more than 22 years. And now he is here and he is being now ordained as a minister. We want to extend congratulations to this fine young man, this son of the soil. We could have been having him here with us, but we don't value our people. So, Mr. Dirk Macaulay, congratulations to you from us here at Advancing the Cause. We love you. We're sending you lots of hugs, and our prayers continue to make us proud. We will continue to follow you and we will continue to love you. We are proud of what you do where you are there in the Bahamas. So, viewers, good night again, and do take care. Mr. Sloat, thank you for being here with us. It's always a pleasure to have you, and just know that we're going to be calling on you pretty often to talk about issues that we have and to give us the kind of guidance we need, because you've been in that field of law enforcement, and I know they can't point one finger at you, and that's why they're always picking at you. But again, thank you so much, and we wish you every success, and our prayers are always going to be with you.
Thank you very
Viewers,
much.
have a good night. Take care. Bye-bye.